World End Economica is a three-part visual novel series which has underwent a major remaster and localization effort thanks to a Kickstarter campaign. There's meant to be an anime serialization at some point, but for now we can enjoy World End Economica complete on Nintendo Switch. This is a massive release even by genre standards, and having all three parts in one place is enough to make an economical value proposition for genre enthusiasts. And for those yet to step into the magical world of reading as gaming, this is a great place to be initiated. As the title suggests, World End Economica is embedded with finance, economics, and plenty of Wall Street lingo. These seem to be common themes in the works of Isuna Hasekuru, where even the narrative of Spice and Wolf was driven by schematics of the trade market. World End Economica takes place on the moon, on which humans have managed to create an artificial society where money is the primary life force and capitalism is the official religion in a way. Although it uses a lot of sci-fi themes and devices in its lore building, the actual world itself feels very grounded. It uses the moon backdrop as an abstraction of real-world capitalism by explaining authentic concepts from finances and economics, and then applying them in a way that feels believable and grounded. The story begins with our protagonist as a runaway youth, getting by on the mean streets of the moon by trading shares and learning the ins and outs of the lunar financial market. He manages to make enough money to get by on the day-to-day basis, but eventually he finds himself with a support system at a church where slowly but surely he starts to build synergy with an unlikely group of friends and allies. The pacing of the story can be very slow, as the game spends a great deal of time organically building a rapport among the cast using a range of intimate scenarios. It can take a long time for the story to build up to its more thrilling moments where the pursuit of wealth leads to encounters with powerful figures and forces, but then the whole point is to immerse you into a game world and get acquainted with the characters enough to genuinely care about them. The first part of World End Economica is a slow burn, but things start to pick up in the sequel, and then by the final act the cast is fleshed out and the game world feels vibrant and alive. The investment is worthwhile as the game builds up to its lunar setting in a great detail, and with the growing cast each character gets enough time to shine and feel meaningful in the whole story progression. Much like famous films set in Wall Street, there are plenty of powerful white-collar antagonists here, everyone from lowly debt collectors to powerful one-percenters of the lunar financial market. The narrative is definitely a commentary on capitalism, and while it doesn't comment on any particular viewpoint, it does enough to get players to appreciate how wealth is created and pursued in the bigger scheme of things. When it comes down to the cast of interest is our protagonist Hagana, who fits in the archetype of being mean and standoffish on the surface and yet vulnerable and troubled underneath. She happens to be a math genius, and soon enough she lends her mathematical skills to help our hero embark on conquering the lunar stock market. Money is king on the moon, more so than on Earth, but the way that the characters relate with the idea of wealth is presented with a great deal of complexity. In the end, money is just a means for them to achieve a greater purpose and calling, and so what's great about this game is how the characters rarely ever feel like they are one note. A great example is Lisa, who happens to fall into the religious archetype, but not in a preachy way. It's not often in Japanese media that you see a fully fledged Christian portrayed in such a grounded manner, and although she tends to drop a lot of Bible verses, she ends up being one of the more complex and endearing characters of the story. It's clear that the author is a writer first and foremost, and it shows. World End Economica features excellent writing with the way places and moments are described in great detail and how it punctuates world building and opportune moments in between expressions of character development. The written expression, paragraphing, pacing, and even the use of punctuation is on point throughout, and the excellent writing more than makes up for the game's simple visual presentation. That being said, the character designs and backgrounds have been remastered for this complete collection. Although the artwork is never the strongest aspects of the presentation, but it does enough to create a believable setting and help the player relate with the characters. The music is largely atmospheric with simple techno beats and the occasional mellow orchestra, and it's decent enough, but ultimately the writing shines through more than the visuals and musical presentation. World End Economica Complete is a fine example of a genre staple when it comes to visual novels. This is a great release as a complete collection as each part complements the previous entry. While the pacing of the narrative can feel a bit slow at times, the expression and flow make the journey worth investing into. Further, the visuals and music don't always shine as much as they should, but they still manage to create atmosphere and provide the cast of characters with vibrant personalities. Above all, how many other visual novels can claim to be a sci-fi economic thriller? Noisy Pixel is giving World End Economica Complete an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.